Hey, what's up, YouTube? How's it going? All right, so I got a subscriber asking about Vecta 5s. He was thinking about getting it for his next fifth scale. So I was going to do my thoughts on the Vecta 5. So let's talk about pros. All right, pros. I think it's one of the coolest looking trucks. Fifth scales, whatever. I mean, look at the rear differential. The diff housing is awesome on it. There's no other RCs like that. So the cool factor and the off factor and the one that looks the most different than any other fifth scales is the Vectas. All right, so the downside of the Vecta is the weight. Okay, the Vecta is built like a tank. Now I'm going to go into that a little bit. I'm not going to make this video super long. Some of you might agree with me, some of you might not agree with me. This is my experience with it. So the weight issue. So let's just say you have a Vecta with a 32cc. You have a Losi 5T with a 32cc. The Vecta will be slower. Okay? Because of the weight. Now, there are things you can do to make it lighter. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details on mine. You can watch previous videos, what I've done to mine. I did add, I'm just going to point out a few things. I did add a good amount of carbon fiber to mine. Okay? Like these side uprights, the front shock tower, and it does have the Taylor RC chassis, which is lighter than the stock one. Now, the only one of the downfalls about the Vecta is there is no upgraded axles. Okay, the axles that go into here, your basically your wheel axles. Okay, and even your center drive axle. Okay, there is no upgraded parts for it. So whatever size the pin is, if it's a 5mm pin, that's what you're stuck with. Okay. Now, Vecta did make an upgraded rear center drive shaft. Okay. The one I have on mine is a version 2. They do have a newer version. I mean, it's probably been out for a couple years now, but they do have a newer version, which I do have still in the package. I just haven't needed to go to it yet. Instead of like U-joints in the drive shaft, they run a CVD system. Okay? The front ones have the one pin on the diff side, like a regular dog bone, and then it's a CVD to the wheel, which is good. So that I would say, I'm going to mention one more without going crazy into details. So the downfall, 1, is the weight. 2, the upgraded drivetrain, meaning that, there's no aftermarket out there for it. Okay? The third thing, I had issues with the center differential, the stock ones. I had bearings coming out of there. Okay? Now, Vertigo and the Kraken also made one too. I think it's called the T90. If you're going to get one, get the Vertigo and be done with it. Okay? What's cool about the Vertigo one, better fit in the bearings. There's more gearing options, but I'm not going to go through all that. I did a video on that. So, on that note, the things I really like about the Vecta, like I said, the rear differential housing, super cool. I love the design of it. And like I was saying, this thing is built like a tank. Meaning, The front lower control arms, the knuckles, the upper control arms, everything is very heavy duty on it. Okay. The other thing that is also super cool, and sorry, I had a little brain fart there for a second. The shocks are big. You don't need to upgrade them. Grant, I don't even know, there isn't any upgraded ones. You know what I mean? I don't know if you can fit low C ones. I doubt it, but they're very heavy duty. On the heavy duty side, that's what makes it basically so heavy. I have an ALX Super 40 in mine. And I think it's still not my fastest RC I have, but it runs really good with a 40. And I'll say it. I ran it, I think, like 3 or 4 times maybe, and it's been very dependable with a ALX Super 40 in there. The other question the guy had, the subscriber had, was what's the biggest I think a Vekta would hold engine size? My opinion, okay, there's many answers you can give for this, but my answer, well, I'll say here, you can put whatever size engine you want in there, okay? But the fact of repairing it all the time, replacing drive shafts and, so forth, okay? I think the biggest I would go in it for, like, safe side, not having to repair, drive shaft pins all the time, so forth, I would say a 46 GT. Okay? Obviously, there's ones out there with 80s in them and 65s and 71s and so forth, okay? But I think a good, reliable, the biggest reliable size I would say to go with, personally, from my experience, now I don't have a 46 in there, I don't have an 80 in there, I have a 40. But I think a 46 would be a good fitment for this. The 46 has tons of torque. I think it'll be a good fit for this vehicle. Where the Vekta is different than, let's say, an MCD, a low C5T, a low C5B, your normal four-wheel drive vehicles. In the center transmission in here, they run a slipper clutch. Some people like them, some people don't. Okay, that's how Kraken does it. Two other things that I would say I'm not a ginormous fan on. The battery box is not the best size. This is an aftermarket lid, so it comes out more. Otherwise, it would be just pretty much flat. It is a small battery box, so you're not going to fit a very big battery in there. Enough to run for the day, but I'm just saying nowhere near the size of a low C or like that. So basically, if I was buying a Vekta, okay, I'm not gonna say whether you go big bore or small bore, right off the bat. But the two main things I would do right off the bat, okay, and these are the experiences I've had. I know RC Ohio Todd had no issues with his center transmission. I had a bunch, but so that could be error when they built mine, where they built his, maybe his tolerances are a lot better, you know what I mean? Like the old thing built on a Friday or a Monday, whatever, you know what I mean? I'm just going from my experience. The two things I would change right away on a Vekta. Okay? Get the Vertigo center transmission. Put it in there, never have to worry about it again. Whether you go big bore or small bore. Okay? Now, the next thing, because it is so heavy, you are going to need at least a high-tech 845 steering servo. Okay? In my opinion, I think you need a better one than that. I have a Hillentronics Hercules. 845 will do the trick, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying you need at least an 845 steering servo. The Kraken servos they give you are not great. You can use it for throttle, that's fine. But it is going to take a big, wide turn with the stock steering servo. Other than that, I absolutely love the Vekta. It's got its little quirks here and there, but nothing bad. But once you change that center transmission and put a good steering servo in there, you'll have fun with it. But you are going to need more power, more powerful engine, I guess you should say, than you would in a low C5T. A stock G320 in a pipe, it's going to move it, don't get me wrong. But I wasn't happy with the power output, you know what I mean? It was just like one of my slowest vehicles in my, what I have, you know what I mean? But let's go on. Let's say you're going to put a 40 GT in there, okay? You can run the one that comes with it, the stock center rear drive shaft. You just got to keep an eye on it. They run a lot of pins and set screws, okay? So what I would do, get the V2 or just go right to the V3, the CVD. The only reason why I haven't done mine yet, because this one's been pretty solid. I have a brand new, the CVD one in my parts bin. Had no issues with that. But if you're going to put a 46 GT, replace that, okay? The center transmission, put the Vertigo in there, never have to worry about it. And then if you want, Taylor sells a alloy front diff housing. I had no issues with the stock one, I'm just letting you know. But those are the things I would do if you're going to put that kind of power to it. So, hopefully this is helpful. One thing I will say, I know he also asked about how's the handling on it. Some people aren't going to agree with me. Some people are. The Vekta handles amazing. Okay? You are not going to roll this thing. You're not going to tip it. Like, I think at top speed, whatever, let's just say you had this on a 5T at top speed, I think this thing will outhandle a 5T. This thing is super durable on turns, and, you're not going to roll this thing. Okay? But the shocks have amazing travel. All your tie rod ends. These are upgraded, but I'm just saying the stock, like, everything's pretty beefy on this thing. It is really built like a tank. And there's no other fifth scale that looks like it. What else can I say about it? Like I said, if you want to see what I did to mine, look at previous videos I did them a while ago, where I go in depth with things I did to mine. So I just figured I'd shoot the camera like mine and then just go over stuff, but not, just stuff to change on it. Yeah, I think that's, I'm trying to think here. Did I do anything else? I will say, when I do run with other people and I bring the Vekta gets more attention than my hybrids, my Bajas, any of that stuff. It's so different than your other fifth scales out there, like I said. So like I said, if you're going to put a 46 GT in there, the rear center drive shaft, this center transmission, and maybe the front. But yeah, the ALX 40 or a Taylor 40 GT are good fitments for this thing. It's not crazy fast, but it makes this big boy move, and you can see videos of mine running. So yeah, hopefully that that helps. If you need me to go more in depth or whatever, I can. but I did do video going through this whole thing. I think I even have a slideshow of what stuff I've done on it. But yeah, anyways, I hope that helps, and if you have any more questions or whatever, the only thing I would say, like if like you were saying, your first 4-wheel drive vehicle for a first, I would say a Losi 5T is a cheaper route going. But I mean that's my opinion from having both. You know what I mean? RC Ohio Tide, you can even ask him. I'm sure he'll comment on my video. He has a Vekta 5, but he doesn't have a Losi 5T. So, in the fact of saying which one would you get, I guess that's not the best words to say. I just think there's more upgradable parts for a Losi 5T. But again, I will say I think the Vekta does outhandle it. In my opinion. So, all right. Well, hopefully that helps, and hopefully that made sense. If you have any more questions, hit me up. All right. Have a good one, guys.